I want to call this meeting to order, the Facilities Committee at 5:36. Do I have a motion to call the meeting to order?
I motion that we call the meeting to order at 5:30, was it 5:36?
I second.
It has been seconded that we will call the Facilities meeting to order now. Now I want to make a call for a motion for the adoption of the agenda.
Let's see, Vice President, I wanted to amend the agenda to see if we can add a discussion to the agenda
Okay.
about the Ruskin's Gates, about the discussion about Ruskin's Gates.
Ruskin Gate under
Under 4.5, sorry.
Okay. Ruskin Gate. Did you hear that,
Gates.
President Briggs?
Gates.
The gates at
Yeah.
Ruskin.
Gates.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Okay, Director Carter has asked that we make a amendment to the agenda under 4.5 for Ruskin High School to add Ruskin Gates on there. So now I'm asking if we can have a motion to for the agenda and also including the amendment to the agenda. So I'm gonna do, first of all, I'll do the agenda and then the amendment. So do I have a motion for the amendment of the to the Ruskin 4.5?
I motion,
I move.
oh, you can go ahead.
Go ahead, President
Go
Briggs.
ahead. No, go ahead, Jermaine, I'll second.
I motion that we put the gates, well, have the discussion about the gates at Ruskin on 4.5.
I second.
Okay, it has been moved and second that we do the amendment for 4.5. Now I'm gonna ask for a motion to adopt the agenda with all the amendments now.
I move that we adopt the agenda, with the amendment to add Ruskin Gates to the agenda. And second.
I second.
All right, it has been second that we have adoption of the agenda, including the amendment to 4.5 for the Ruskin Gates. Now we will go on to the approval of the minutes by Mr. Weekly. Mr. Weekly, go ahead.
Any question about the minutes? You've had them for a while. Just any updates or any changes you wanted to make?
Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Seeing that we don't have any more discussion about the minutes, I'm gonna ask that we accept the minutes, so I'm asking for a motion to approve of the minutes, please.
I motion we approve the minutes for the discussion.
September 12th.
Oh, sorry, for September the 12th.
Facilities Committee.
Okay. September the 12th, Facilities Committee's meeting.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second? President Briggs? Well, I will second it. Also, before we go any further, I want to let everybody know that President Briggs is joining us through phone, so she will be also available to hear us. Now, moving forward, discussion items 4.1, Hope Hangout.
Good evening.
Oh, she hung up. Hold on for me.
Thank you.
Let me get her back. One sec. That's her. Is that her? Just one moment, Ms. Rowe.
Sure.
Trying to log in. Just second. Just keep going. I'm logging in.
Okay, I'm gonna keep you on the phone, and then once you log in, just let us know.
I'm trying to log in to your Zoom.
She just did, I think.
Connecting. Give me a second.
Okay, just one moment, everybody. It's gonna take a minute. President Briggs is gonna join us by Zoom.
I see him.
You see him? Okay. How we gonna know you got any questions? Can she hear us?
I've got my volume all the way up, I think.
Okay. Now, President Briggs has just joined us by Zoom from the invite from Mr. Weekly. Just want to have that on record. Go ahead, Mrs. Rowe. Okay.
Okay, good evening. I'm presenting item 4.1, which is Hope Hangout. So the Hickman Mills Prevention Coalition, which is HMPC on the board memo, has requested the use of space at Burke Academy to support their after-school and weekend program that they call Hope Hangout. for students at Ruskin and at Burke in grades 9 through 12. Some of the background information is that Marva Moses, the director of the Hope Hangout program, approached Dr. Cargyle some time ago about initiating a conversation around how we could partner with use of some facility space within the district, in particular Burke, to support our students. They provide an after school and weekend program, and often also during winter break and Thanksgiving break for our students who are 9th grade or higher. Some of the purposes of the Hickman Mills Prevention Coalition are listed there under the background information. First one is decreasing substance use and abuse among teens, decreasing violent crimes, increasing mental health awareness, and developing and implementing community strategies that will support our students. Hope Hangout is designated as a safe place for our students exclusively to attend after school for a period of about 3:30 to 6 p.m. and then during extended breaks. Director Moses uses this opportunity to provide students with academic support, social emotional mentoring, extra meals, and then recreation. It is open Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. is when she begins use, but of course starts when dismissal from school happens until 6 p.m. and from noon to 4 during breaks and throughout the summer. This last summer she had approximately 20 students who participated in the after school program, and she of course would like to extend that. Director Moses met with myself and Mr. Weekly and Ms. Korn at Burke Academy a few weeks ago to begin the conversation around what would that look like and identifying a space that would be appropriate within Burke that she could use that would be accessible to her. The 4 of us collaborated around a possible room on the PD end of Burke Academy towards the front of the building. There is no cost to the district for implementing Hope Hangout at Burke Academy. The superintendent does recommend approval of Hope Hangout utilizing space at Burke Academy to support our students after school. The MOU was drafted by Marva and the Hickman Mills Prevention Coalition. It was shared with our legal team. It's been approved through legal in terms of verbiage and agreements, and so we currently have a pending MOU pending discussion and approval from the board.
You have any questions?
Is there any way that we can actually get a copy of that agreement? Like we can see what was in that agreement and what was the discussion between Dr. Cargyle and Hope Hangout? So that way we have a clear understanding on what's kind of going on.
I can share the MOU with you. Sure.
Okay.
President Briggs, you have any questions? I don't know if she can hear us. Well, I got some questions. First of all, you said Director Moses. You mean Miss Moses or Director Moses? That's why I'm kind
Marva Moses,
Okay,
yeah,
Marva.
just as informal director of the program.
Okay. My next question is, what is the cost? What are we going to be? How much would they be charged to rent the facility?
So there's no cost written into the MOU in terms of the Hickman Mills Prevention Coalition charging or us charging her for use of the facilities. There's no additional charge on our end in terms of building usage for those after school hours. Again, it's an opportunity for students that are in our district to have another layer of support in the community as opposed to being out or being at home or whatever. It is exclusively for Hickman Mills students.
Is it just one room that we're
Yes, ma'am.
just one room that we're going to utilize with them?
Yes, ma'am. I think it's room 28 is the
Yeah.
room we designated.
My next question is that are these students only for the Hickman Mills, or are they going to be other students also?
It's just Hickman Mills students. It would just be those students who are at Burke Academy and those students who are at Ruskin who sign up to be a part of the program.
Well, the reason why I guess why I'm bringing up all these things, I think right now we have some questions about how Hope Hangout was coming, and with everything that is going on in the district too, as well. I know we charge a lot of our tenants already. Is that correct, to use our facilities?
I don't have that answer.
we do
There
charge.
are certain groups that we charge, yes.
Yes, and so I just and then also having that with things that are going on that I'm not going to share, probably not right now today. Me personally, I don't think at this time, we're ready for the Hope Hangout to come into our facilities at this time. I do understand that this is a recommendation from the superintendent, as well as the board has the final say. But as far as bringing it up at this point, hold on one moment, because this is President Briggs, so give me one moment.
I can
everyone.
hear y'all.
Go ahead.
She can hear it through here.
Oh. I mean, just me personally. President Briggs, you had some questions?
I couldn't hear none of that. What are you talking about?
Hope Hangout,
We're talking about.
Oh, okay.
I would share that Dr.
I don't
Cargile,
have any questions.
Okay.
I would share that Dr. Cargile, in knowing that she was gonna be out of the district today, she did share with me that, she wanted to recognize that Hope Hangout will be serving our own Just Hickman Mill students for approximately 3 additional hours per day. If there's a rate that the board is recommending that we would charge, that of course we would, go back to Marva Moses and Hope Hangout for that. If Marva, we did have a conversation with her about meals. She's not able to utilize our kitchen space, and those kinds of things. So that wouldn't be an additional cost that we would have to incur, but that's not something that she's elected to do at this time.
Right. I just think, just with all the things that's going on in our district, I don't really feel comfortable. Director Carter and maybe President Briggs can also chime in as far as bringing this recommendation up. I'm going to ask council on this, since this is basically the first step of where these things come from. I want to ask if we don't accept it as far as with the facilities, do we still have to bring it to the board?
So it could come before the board, but it would come before the board if
From us.
you all didn't recommend doing. You would report back to the board and indicate that you all didn't recommend proceeding with the
Okay.
MOU.
So I'm still gonna have to go back to the board.
Yeah, you can without the recommendation, but, I mean, we can take it from the board, but at this time, I mean, me personally, we don't have to vote on this, do we? Ms. Johnson, we don't have to vote on this one, do we? From the
So
facility?
that's up to you all if you all want to. You've got a recommendation, so if you want to make a motion, you can. If you don't want to do
I
that,
can
you don't
just
have
leave it
to.
as is and just take the recommendation back to them as it is.
You can in your report indicate that it was presented and that you all
Right.
did not make a recommendation at this time. If you want to make a recommendation, then you're going to want to make a motion and vote on whatever your recommendation is going to be.
President Briggs, did you hear that?
Ms. Briggs?
Director Carter, how do you feel?
At this moment, I'm just thinking, I think we should bring it from the board maybe, have a
Okay.
vote.
All right. Well, we'll just take that recommendation back to the board, that'll be our recommendation. We didn't approve it, but we will take it from when we come to the board.
So I understand that it's not under consent since you aren't taking a vote. Do you want me to add it to the discussion items for the October 17th board meeting?
No, we'll just report on it. We
Okay.
can report on it, like she stated. Is that correct, Ms. Johnson?
Correct. I mean, it would be part of your
Discussion.
your
My discussion.
report.
Thank you.
The next we will talk about is item 4.2, repurpose badge card readers on doors of vacant facilities.
Yeah, so I talked to Miss Dr. Smith in IT, and I'll just read what she wrote. The question was, can we use the card readers from the buildings that are currently vacated? Technology has removed all RS2 card controllers and equipment that is reusable. There are no working badge readers at either Johnson or Symington currently. Those that were moved to Ruskin, Smith Hale, and Burke as part of the reconfiguration project to save district dollars. It's not on here, but you guys also asked a question about smart boards, which is related kind of to the same thing. Her response was, technology already has it on the calendar to remove smart boards from both Symington and Johnson in October. We will not be. Hello? Can you hear?
Weekly.
Yes.
Oh, did you get my email? I'm sorry, I was trying
No. Sorry.
to.
Everyone, I want to let everybody know that President Briggs has joined us
I
again.
didn't hear what was going on with the Hope Hangout.
So-
Mr. Reagan's gonna tell you.
So what we basically done is, it would be reported into the facilities when you ask us from the facilities, update. We have, stated that at this time, we are not recommending for the Hope Hangout to go into the schools right now.
And why is that when I think they're a pretty good community partner?
Well, dealing with some of the things that right now, I don't know if we're liable to say. We do have Mrs. Fields here. That was one of the reasonings for it. Some of the things that are going on right now at this time.
Well, I think it's important for us to know, I think, that Mrs. Marva has been going, and I think, do I see Dr. Skinner there?
Yes.
Yes,
And I know that Dr. Skinner participates in those monthly meetings, correct?
right, the
Yes.
combat meetings. In fact, there's one tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. I think that we should continue this discussion. I don't think that taking it off the table, we didn't take it off the table, did we?
Yes, we did. We're taking it off the table, but we also are bringing it back as far as our report. That's what I stated.
No.
And some of the reasonings is because there's no contract. We was looking at some of the people that we have right now at this time. We do have them, a contract with them. And just for them to just occupy some space and not have a contract on some other things, I don't know if I'm liable to say it, but at this time. But it will be brought to you guys. If we want to talk about that in closed session, we can.
From my understanding that there is a MOU or something,
That is correct.
That is correct.
is there an,
But we haven't seen it yet.
The MOU went to legal counsel, and legal counsel has approved it, and it's ready to go.
okay, so legal counsel has it, so is it available for tonight's meeting?
Let me see if I can find it in our.
We're looking for it. It wasn't
Katie did it
something
tonight.
we provided tonight. The kitty did not provide it tonight.
So
Or
I
can you
have,
add it to the full board agenda and discuss it in open session?
Well, it would have to be a motion, President Briggs, and that's what we just stated. We stated, we thought you were still there, that's why we kept on asking. And so between the two of us, we stated that we would bring it from the report of the discussion when you asked for the facilities discussion.
So you made a motion to add it to discussion for the board agenda.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. What we're doing is, everybody has to give a report from each committee, so that will be one of our committee reports.
right, so, Keisha, what they essentially did was they didn't make any kind of a motion on it, they didn't take any action on it. So when it comes up at, the regular board meeting, the way it would come up as it stands right now is part of the report from the committee. And so, the committee would indicate that they heard the proposal and decided not to take action on it. And so there was no motion made. Certainly you all are still in session, so it can come back up in this session. If you or one of your colleagues wishes to make a motion, to, bring that before the board with or without a recommendation, you certainly can do that. It would,
Okay, well, I move to bring it to the board for further discussion, at this time.
I second.
Okay, so we would have to bring that back, but see, Mrs. Rowe is not here, so we don't have all the information. So what we'll probably have to do is, let's just amend that to the Board of Education meeting on the 17th. I think that would be the better way to do it, to amend it
Yeah.
to the
Add
meeting.
to the regular board
And
session.
then we'll still have it under the discussion from the committee. We'll give that report then. I think that'll be the best way to do it, since all parties, she's not here and we don't have all information at this time.
certainly, I think wasn't that your motion, President Briggs?
No,
Yes, that was my motion.
I thought your motion was, say your motion again, I'm sorry.
Motion is to bring Hope Hangout to the full board for additional information and to take action on during that time.
Okay, and was
Do
that?
I have a
what you-
second?
I second.
Okay, it's been seconded. Now, any discussion? Here's the discussion, what I was stating. I'll start off. The discussion was to just amend our board meeting agenda. And then therefore, we don't have to worry about doing it right here at the facilities committee, a meeting. We can amend it at our own board meeting and we can have it on the, discussion at the board meeting. It would be easier.
You can
Because
do,
right now, Mrs. Rowe is gone, President Briggs, and we don't have all the information in front of us.
I know, but my motion is to bring it to the full board for further discussion
It's still the same.
and to take action. So we will discuss it, we will add it to the regular board session agenda.
Right. I think we're
Right.
saying the same
you are
lingo,
saying the same thing.
but I think it would be better to just do it at that time, not at the facilities committee time. That's what I'm saying. So if we want to take it to vote, we'll take it to vote now. President Briggs,
Yes,
Director Carter,
Yes.
and I vote no. So the vote, ayes have it 2-1. So for everybody that was out there, we just went back and amended the 4.1 Hope Hangout to have it discussed to the full board at the October 17th regular session meeting. At that time, it will be amended to the Board of Education meeting also for the ones that are following this. Now we're gonna go to 4.2 from Mr. Weekly again.
Sorry, I'm gonna go back, we talked about the card readers, I'll go back to the smart boards. Here's what they said about smart boards. Technology already has it on the counter to remove smart boards from Simonton and Johnson in October. We will not be selling them, but keeping them for replacement of current boards as they go bad to save the district dollars. Additionally, we have installed some of these boards in the rooms already at Smith Hill that did not have them. That was completed in the summer months of 2019.
Okay, my question is on the card readers.
Mm-hmm.
So the chip has been, so we cannot use the card readers?
No, they're a different, it sounds like they're outdated. The ones that are currently there, they've moved up, they've upgraded in technology to an RS2, and they've removed all of those that are compatible with our systems now. So the ones that are currently there no longer can work with our system.
So the card readers wasn't universal?
I think like all technology, it continues to upgrade, and the old ones can't work with the new ones, is what it sounds like.
So how many were left behind?
I don't know how many were left behind.
Can you find out how many card readers are left behind at the buildings, please?
How many card readers that we aren't using?
Yes, that would be a good,
And what do I do with that?
reasoning for it, and then see if they're compatible. Because I mean, I understand what you're saying.
No, that's what she's saying, is they're not compatible.
Okay.
That's why I'm confused about why I would count them, because she's saying you can't use them in our system.
Okay. All right. Okay. And the doors on the vacant facilities, that was also under 4.2.
See, 4.2, doors of vacant facilities. Yes, so Omega Door is one of the companies we work with our doors. Anytime perfect example is the Ruskin Cafeteria. We were able to find a door that actually fit from Old Smith Hale. The problem is doors are not universal in these commercial products, especially from the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s and on up, and even 50s. So we don't have a lot of universal doors that we can use. We are going to replace the cafeteria doors at Ruskin with the gym doors from Old Smith Hale. It's supposed to be either end of this week or first of next week that'll be completed. So anytime we can find those, we'd use them. The problem is that they're not universal fits, and so they're very difficult to find. Ones that will go from one building to another due to variations in ages of the building. And just the door application itself. Some frames fit with other doors and they don't with others. So
So basically, even if we built a frame for some of these doors, it still wouldn't work.
Well, we'd have to buy the frame.
Buy the
These are
frame, right.
commercial frames, so we would have to purchase the frame from them. And you have to remember that those frames, they don't build anymore from that time period if they are different, so. Because you have different locking mechanisms and things like that that come with them now, so. So we'll use as much as we can. I tell you what we have used, not doors necessarily, but the handles and the actual locks and cores within Smith Hale. We've used a ton of those. Not the door itself because it won't fit, but the mechanism itself, the handles and things. We've used a lot of those over the time period, and those are very expensive. So that's been a big money saver for us.
Ms. President Briggs, you have any questions?
Ms. Briggs, any questions about that?
She gone again? She gone again this week?
I don't know. She says she's up, so.
Okay. All right, Ms. Director Carter, you have anything?
No questions, no.
Okay. Moving right along to 4.3, inventory of supplies, materials, et cetera, that is in our closed facilities.
Yeah, what we're gonna do is, much like IT, we have a very similar process. This winter, when we stop working outside as much and really working inside mostly with our grounds crew, we're gonna begin the process of delineating between material we can keep and material we should not keep. So let's say, for giving a good example, let's say we have K12 desks, because they're gonna be shorter and that type of thing. My idea is that we save around 100 to 125, and whatever else we have extra, we would sell on Gov Deals. Okay, Gov Deals is the surplus, educational or government surplus selling site that everybody uses around the area. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all those items and distinguish between what we're going to keep and what we probably need to sell, and that includes chairs, tables, desks, file cabinets, whatever it happens to be. And then we'll keep those items that we feel like that we could trade out with people as they need them over the year or even into next year. So that will happen, in the winter months, late November, December, January, February, and then that way we'll have a great inventory of what we have, what's in good shape, what's not in good shape, and then put the other stuff on Gov Deals.
Okay, so my question would be is we're not gonna do a surplus of none of it.
No, that's what the Gov
Gov
Deals
Deals
is. It's a
is-
surplus, yeah. So what I do at that time, when I get to the point where I'm going, all this material is surplus, I make an inventory of it, I bring it to you as a board, and you have to approve, just like we've approved other surpluses, to say, I'm okay to sell this on Gov Deals. And then I put it out there, and there are a large number of people that just kind of surf govdeals.com, or .org, I should say, and they look for those surplus items from school districts and other public entities. So
could the board expect some type of timeline around February, late February?
I would say, I'd say February, March. When I like to put them out when it's warmer, because people tend to come out. You can put a deal on Gov Deals where they can actually come out and look at it as well. People will be reluctant to come out in February, but they may come out in March. So a lot of times people like to display it. Like I'll put it out like in the cafeteria we saw at Old Smith. Maybe we'd put it out there where people would come and look at it, that type of thing. So I would say somewhere between February and March we'll do that. Probably when it gets a little bit warmer, probably towards March, and that way people have a chance to take a look.
And you'll have an inventory ready
Yeah.
put together before March though?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd get it to
So
you.
where you looking
I'd probably
at?
get it to you in February,
Second week, third week?
whatever the board meeting is. That third week. I
Third
guess.
week of
Yeah.
February, so we'll be looking for a inventory for the old stuff, okay.
And I assume, and I don't know this, but technology will do a similar process with theirs. Those items that
Smart
I think
ones.
they've done some of it because they've placed a lot of those items in other buildings. So, and
Well,
we have too actually. We just have more than we could place.
Okay, so it'd be good that if we could get both of you guys to have it ready in third week of February?
Yeah.
That should be fair enough to have
Yeah.
both sides ready in February.
Yep.
Did you hear that, President Briggs? Is she on
I don't know. Ms. Briggs, are you on there?
there? She's not text. Director Carter, do you have anything on that?
No, I guess.
I know.
Said a third week.
don't
Okay.
do a lot of things.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry?
I have no questions.
Okay.
All right, moving along to 4.4, urban playground
Okay.
completion timeline.
I'm really excited about this. We were able to push this really hard on our vendors, and you have this in front of you. So what you have in front of you, first staple, is the paving. So this is one of the hard pieces of this, is I was trying to negotiate a price that we could feel like I felt comfortable with. You will see from the others, the going price for paving now, for playground or any parking lot paving, is somewhere between $4 a square foot and all the way up to $9 to $10 a square foot. I was able to negotiate it down to $2.59 per square foot. And to really give us a huge savings on this, for the playground that's gonna be at Irvin. So that's the first one you see is Phillips Paving. They were able to give us the $2.59. And actually that price you see, the $59,821, we're gonna reduce that by another $4,000 just for the purpose of, I'm gonna use crushed gravel instead of, I'm gonna do a 3-inch base instead of a 4-inch. The 4 inch is just not needed. And if we were doing a parking lot, that'd be different because you have a lot of weight. With the playground, the weight just isn't a factor, so you can go with 3 inches of gravel. So it'll actually be somewhere around 54, and I'll put that in the final memo we do to the board. So that's something we negotiated today. You'll see that the other bids are, the lowest. You had 73,000, 94,000. So we really feel like we got a great price on this. The time frame of this, as he said, they're out 6 to 8 weeks. I was able to, since we're a school, he's going to bump us up in our relationship. He's going to bump us up to the next 2 to 3 weeks. He said then once we get on site, it'll take about 4 or 5 days to complete. So I'm hoping by Thanksgiving this is complete and kids can run on it. So
With this being said, Mr. Weekly, is this also gonna be sealed?
yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
I didn't see it on there.
that's part of the process. Yeah, they have to seal it.
Okay. So you're looking around Thanksgiving for the kiddos to be back out.
Yeah, if all goes right, we're hoping Thanksgiving. The second piece of paper you have that's stapled there, well, you'll have the invoice, but skip that for a second.
Okay.
I've given you some drawings from AB Creative. AB Creative is the playground company we've worked with for several years, back even before I started in this position. They've done a great service to us. And the first one you see is kind of an aerial look, which, to be honest with you, doesn't help that much. But what I'll tell you is, the equipment is going to be on that north side of the playground. And then the part that's blank here, that's going to be where like basketball courts are, Foursquare, that type of thing. That way you've got some just open space, and the basketball goals will be on the sides. So you'll have what I consider like a true playground space, which is the pieces that kids will play on, and then the open area, which will be to the south of there. If you'll flip it to the next page, that's kind of an aerial view of the climbing apparatus that will be there. There's kind of a third page is kind of a visual of that climbing apparatus, computer image. You got spinners that are going to be there on there too. You'll see a visual of the spinner that's on to the left and the right of that climbing apparatus. And then the tri-palmetto swings. These are probably the most popular thing we have in our playgrounds. They are large circular swings that kids swing on. You can make them to where 2 and 3 kids can be on them. They love them and they're very safe. And but palmetto swings are kind of the big hitter with playgrounds. And so we're going to have a tri-palmetto swing there, which I think will be great for our kids.
And this is coming out of which budget for the 99,000?
And then I want to mention one more thing. As you're looking at this one, the front one, this climbing apparatus you see right here, this kind of star-shaped one, that's the one from Johnson. So we're moving the one from Johnson over to here. Okay, that's this one, the star one. Okay, because we had talked about that. How can we use that other equipment? Well, they're going to have the company move it because they're the ones who installed it. Okay, and then right to the right of that, there's going to be like one of those things you can hang on and slide. And so that's kind of a slide, what they call a slider. And the slider's right there. So they're going to have they're going to have climbing, they're going to have spinners, they're going to have the big climber, the sliders, and then this is kind of a peg wall that they can kind of put stuff in. So that's very tactile for those kids that need that. So this was designed by them, and I think this will be a great playground for our kids. So the cost of all of that, installation and equipment and all that kind of thing, is $99,946, and that's on that first piece of paper. And this is a national cooperative price, which means it's the most competitive you can find. National cooperatives are extremely stringent on getting the lowest price possible for consumers, and they are part of that, and that's why we have always worked with them, is due to that. Time frame. So let's talk about that. The playground piece will be done first, meaning the pavement will be done first. We've ordered this equipment this week. It takes 8 to 10 to 12 weeks to get in, and then 2 weeks to install. So it's going to be a while till this is installed. And at least it'll be a little while till it even gets here. So, and then the installation will take a week or two. So we're buttoned up right against the first of the year. The other part I wanted to explain about this space where all the pieces are going, there's a piece called what's called a fall zone. And fall zones are important for when kids come off pieces or fall off pieces, they're able to be safe in that area. So in this area, the new thing that's going on is no longer doing just fall zones, but also putting turf fall zones in. It's much more durable. It allows water to work through it, and it stands up to the weather much better. So this will be a turf plus pad. So there's a pad underneath the turf that creates the fall zone for the kids, and then it's able to drain water because of the turf. So it's the best possible application for kids, and it'll be great. It'll be long lasting for them. That turf will be there for 10 to 15 years. And it's not like the turf at the football field. It's a little bit different. It's a little thinner, a little softer, that type of thing.
So I guess my question is, we're going to be constructing a new playground over at Urban, it sounds like. Is this what the design is for?
That's what I've been charged to do, yes.
And my second thing is, I didn't see anything about these heaters, these blowers and stuff. The blowers over there on the playground, what are we doing with that right now?
Heaters,
I think he's
The
talking
air
about the
conditioning,
noise.
the unit, the
Oh.
noise, the thing. I didn't see anything in here.
No, I
Is
have
that
been.
away from them?
No, yeah, that was the purpose of doing this, was just taking them away from that noise, so they wouldn't be around that noise anymore. So we would have to totally replace that. I mean, we talked about the cost of that would be just astronomical. It'd be way past this to replace that. There are no applications. I called Dr. Myers, who was in my position prior to me being here, about the noise piece of it, and he said, Dan, he investigated, and I talked to Justin Durham, the architect. He said, Dan, there is no guarantee whatever we build will eliminate the noise. There is no real application for eliminating noise from an HVAC unit. It just doesn't exist. Anything we build would just be a try. And he goes, I doubt you want to spend, $75,000 to $150,000 on a try when we can just build a new playground.
So my thing is, how is building this new playground going to take away from the noise? I heard you say this is going to take away from the noise.
The kids won't be where the noise is.
They'll be further down.
Yeah, they won't. They'll be way on that field over there.
So the 94,000, and then I'm looking at back here, we have 99,000. So this is two separate, or is this all combined together?
No, you talking about the asphalt?
Yeah, the asphalt and
The
then the
asphalt.
playground.
The top
equipment.
one is the one we're accepting. The other two are just other bids from other companies.
Just bids. So we were looking at first
We're looking at 3 different bids.
3 different bids.
Yes.
Okay, because I was thinking, it's so much money.
It is a lot.
It's
Playgrounds
a
are,
lot of money, and I'm looking at all these numbers, and I'm like, is anything combined all together? These are separate bids, right?
yeah, this asphalt
Okay.
is separate bids, yes.
Asphalt is separate bid, the playground equipment and all that, that's
It's
one of the
separate.
separate bids. So we're looking at 94,000, and we're looking at 99,000.
99,000. So the grand total between the two
Just on the two, it looks, yeah.
was, I think I had it at 159, 160,000 basically.
160,000.
Just under 160.
Asphalt and playground equipment.
Correct.
And that was just only those two, and still have this 59, or am I looking right? 59,000, no, so that doesn't have nothing to do with it.
No, he just went on and combined it. for-
Okay,
So it'll
so
be 160,000 for all of them.
Correct.
And which budget would this come out of?
Have to come out of the general budget. It would affect, this money would affect our current fund balances.
And it would drop it probably by maybe, see, we shot for 15% for 2021. So if we take a large chunk out of that, it'd probably reduce it by 5%.
I don't know the answer to that. I have to ask
Oh, is that
Ms.
too
Wilson
much?
how much that would be.
5%.
It wouldn't be 5%.
Okay.
and this is all new playground equipment, so there's, well, I'm thinking, there's no other playground equipment from the school's closing that we can use. We can't use nothing.
This
So
climbing
is all
piece is really,
brand new equipment.
Well, you might want to explain them the reason, because there's always a warranty.
yeah, I mean, if you tried to take it, you would have no warranty, no coverage on liability and those types of things that, so the one climbing apparatus is the only one I would recommend doing that with. Plus, like I've stated before in these meetings, you're gonna spend as much to move some of that equipment as you are gonna buy new. And that's exactly from the manufacturers, like, if we move that, we're gonna spend as much money as we are gonna buy a brand new.
And so with the bids, this
And
was
the
the
warranty.
cheapest one for us. This was like a reasonable price for us.
Yeah, this is very reasonable.
Oh, okay.
Playgrounds are very expensive.
Yeah, I see.
And this, my question is, so now the playgrounds that we had, the new stuff that we did have at some of those schools, how old are they right now?
I'd have to go back in records. I couldn't answer that question. I know that since I've been in this position, we have not placed anything new at Simonton. The only thing we did new is the one piece we're moving at Johnson.
I think the only thing that's bothering me is that we're investing so much on this, not just saying one school, but that's what's happening, $160,000. And we still have jobs in other schools that don't have nothing there.
Yep.
And so we're investing all this money in one school, but we're still leaving other schools behind. It has to be I just wish we can find a way that we can upgrade everybody within a reasonable price.
Well, I want to suggest that, and I want to address that, because I agree with you, just, there is a need across the district. So here's what I would suggest, is that we make this a part of our conversation when we talk about the 2020 bond, is that how do we address playgrounds across the district, and make that a part of our discussion on that. And I think it wasn't addressed in the long-range planning that we have seen so far, but since we're gonna hopefully hire our architect on next Thursday, that would be one of the first things I would ask him to do, is do an assessment of the playgrounds, give us an idea of cost, and then we can go down and add it to that assessment, so we know as a group, when we start looking at what projects we're gonna do, it's on there and we have an estimated cost to think about.
And who is this architect that we're talking about?
The finance committee made a recommendation was going to make a recommendation to the board for Hollis and Miller.
Did they made this recommendation, did they already approve it? They already approved this?
Well, it has to be approved at
It
their
has to be
full
approved.
board meeting,
Full board
but,
meeting, okay.
but that's their
And
recommendation.
how much is this architect? This, like the contract that, we're gonna do a contract out with them?
It's based on the project,
Based
so
on
based
the
on a
project.
percentage of the project, so.
Okay.
And that's in the memo when you see it. It'll be posted tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Weekly.
Sure.
We do know Director Carter and President Briggs, if she is listening, that we have to do something about the playground over at Irvin. I know it is a shame that we can't, like we know already, do some more for them.
Yeah, Dobbs was, I walked
Well,
down
it's
there
next, yeah,
and there was nothing,
We'll
literally
get-
just like sidewalk.
We'll get on that one in a minute. So the timeline you're looking at is the first of the year, almost.
Completion, yeah. So, yeah, any other questions you might have?
It's completion. It'll be
Okay.
the first
And I'll
of
give
the year.
updates as we move along. I'll provide you with updates as things progress.
That's over there.
Okay. She's not on it?
She said she's putting her comments in the chat. She can hear us, isn't that right?
Oh,
Oh,
So click over on
just
the
one
chat.
moment, we get some comments from
There
the
we go.
president.
oh, there we go. I do not have any questions. I'm having trouble with the mic. I can hear, but I can't talk. Okay.
Okay, well, we're gonna be, we would have to take this up for vote now, because we would have to bring this to the board, so I'm asking for a motion for us to, bring the Phillips Paving and, ABC Creative as a recommendation to the Board of Education. So I'm asking for a motion for that.
A motion that we bring, what is it, sorry, the
Phillips
Phillips and Paint,
Paving,
Paving,
ABC Creative.
I cannot see, sorry, I didn't bring my glasses.
Oh,
Okay, sorry, where's it at, Mr. Ray? You have to point it out. There we go. ABC Creative, okay. I move that we bring the ABC Creative to the board for approval, or we're doing it at their approval.
I second it. I guess we can still vote, so I'm gonna go ahead and, Director Carter,
Aye.
and I guess I'm gonna ask the attorney now, because President Briggs, as everybody knows, she's still on the chat, so how will we do this? Can we cannot, but we can, so we cannot listen to her, so it'd just be us two voting, correct, on this?
I mean, she can
She
chime
vote.
in.
She can type in her
Yeah,
vote.
she can type in.
I haven't seen anything yet.
And I think we need to check that out and make that also in that policy. Get that updated
The policy for what, I'm sorry?
for communicating, it's communication.
Oh, you all have a policy that allows for her to be able to
Chat.
participate electronically in your meetings. So she's okay.
President Briggs, are you out there? Do we have your vote? I'm gonna give her some time.
Yeah, 'cause the last time she
It was 6:03 was the
was
last
20
time she
minutes
typed.
ago that she typed anything.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go on, and I'm gonna vote aye. We will bring this to, it's 2-0. And we will bring this to the full board on the October 17th meeting with the paving and ABC.
Okay.
Next one is 4.5 Ruskin High School.
Okay. Cafeteria concerns, can you tell me what that
The
is?
cafeteria was with the doors, and
Oh,
what would be
okay,
the
we mentioned
timeline?
that.
Will it,
Yeah,
when
we
it would
mentioned
be?
that.
When was that you stated it was?
He told me end of this week or first of next week, those would be swapped out.
So we're looking at probably the end of next week then, because tomorrow's Friday.
Right,
he
so
probably
if he doesn't do it tomorrow, it'll be Monday or Tuesday, and I'll let you know.
All right, let me get a date. And then the next one would be food court concerns. There was a concern about the stairs. We talked about that here.
Yeah.
There was some stairs that was supposed to go in so that our students could use the courtyard out in that area. Where are we on that?
So I talked to Mr. Allen today and we were on the same page. So they had, what this was, there was a donation being given by Latasha McCall, who is the owner of LM2, Construction and Consulting. This was all done through this process of, she was donating $5,000 worth of construction. And so Mr. Allen, this is something that her and Mr. Allen had worked out. And it's something that I wasn't a part of until this summer. Mr. Allen said, can you meet with her to show her where the steps would be? And I said, absolutely. So I met Ms. McCall at Ruskin High School in the cafeteria, showed her the stairs. Ms. McCall was under the impression this was like a 2 to 3 steps type thing, I think. Because when she saw the height of the stair, or height of the door that would be going to that courtyard, she was like, oh, this is a much bigger than I thought it would be. I said, yeah, this is quite a, because you have to have so many inches and feet rise and fall to make that door. And so the door's gonna have to be, or the stairs is gonna stick out a long ways into the cafeteria because of the rise and fall you need to make it accommodating and to code for getting to that courtyard. She was like, this is gonna take an engineer first. And I said, I would agree with you. I would want an engineer to tell me, you know, what are the specs to create that. She explained this to Mr. Allen. I explained to Mr. Allen shortly after our meeting, and then they said they would be in contact with another about any future, you know, problems. I think Ms. McCall has a smaller business in the community and is swamped right now trying to finish outdoor work. So I know that Mr. Allen's reaching out to her to find out what next steps are. And so I'll let you know when he finds out, and, because this was all kind of a donation thing, and so I know it was something between her and Ruskin. I think she's a former Ruskin grad, I believe, is how this all came about, so once I get more information from her, and we've reached out to her and haven't been able to catch her, according to Mr. Allen, so we'll find out and I'll report back to you when we think this might be done, so. And I told her, I said, we'll help in any way we can as a district, if there's something, manpower wise or something that we can do, we certainly would help with that. And so hopefully we'll hear from her soon.
My next question would be on that is, if she doesn't do that by a given time, is there any way, I know that each school is allowed so much to spend in their schools. Is there some way, if that would be into his budget, to whereas we could get those stairs ourselves for our students?
Yeah, Mr. Allen can make that decision, sure. Anything in his budget that is allowable for that, he can certainly make that decision. And I don't know what his priorities are for that money, that discretionary money he has, so I don't want to speak for him in that, but
Okay.
it's certainly possible.
Okay. Ms. Carter?
I have no question.
Auditorium concerns?
So I went there today, met with Miss Michaels, we kind of walked through we fixed a whole bunch of lights, house lights and some other lights, dimmers and all that kinds of things. That's been done, that's been going on since summer actually. So all of those are done. The only thing that's left is we've got a leak right at the display case. Today was the perfect day to go look, and we looked today because the best day to look for a leak is when it's raining. So we got up on the roof, we found out that we've got a roof drain that's got a weak patch around it, which is causing the problem. So now that we know what the issue is, we've called Cornell, who is our kind of our roofing patch person, and we're gonna meet them and try to seal that up, and then take care of that display case, try to get it cleaned up a little bit and painted a little bit so it doesn't look bad. And I walked with her, and that was really the only concern she had, just outdated equipment, which we know that's part of it. And please understand that part of the long-range plan that you have seen, that we saw last time when Justin was here, was we added the auditorium to that. As we talked about activity areas, the auditorium was a part of that report, somewhere in the range of $2.3 or $4 million. So it is certainly something I think we should consider. The auditorium is 1978, and so it has been there a long time, 41 years, and has not had an update since 1978. So this would be a good time to, I would strongly consider making that a part of our updates.
I know that the bond is going to be, kind of priority wise, but since, what can we do right now? I heard that you stated that we're going to patch that leak up. I don't know
Yeah.
what the timeline is. I guess my next question would be, we fixed the lights.
We have.
And we're going to fix the trophy case, because I know we have cases over at the old Smith Hill. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know how big
they're
they are.
embedded in and they can't be dismantled.
None of those can be dismantled, okay. So I guess my next question would be, are we gonna be putting up some new ceiling, things, where the water is, you can see the water
Yeah.
spots that's right in there?
Yeah, whatever's up there,
What
we'll
we're gonna
patch
do.
it in so that it looks back to normal
Okay.
as much as we can. Those are, I think they're 3x3 tiles, which is an unusual tile.
Mhm.
We'll try to find exactly we'll try to find that piece. That'll be hard to find, but I think we can find them.
What'll be a timeline, Mr. Weekly? of when we
I
can
don't
get
know, I
this
haven't, Cornell's swamped right now, even when they're busy with us as well, so I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks we'll have that finished. I don't know what their timeline is, cause I had them on 3 or 4 different buildings today.
So 2 weeks, let's say 3 weeks then, that'll give you a whole, till November. That should be like the first, week of November almost, 3 weeks. 'Cause 2 weeks would be the end of the month,
Yeah,
and 3 weeks will give you the first week of November almost.
yeah, and we actually videotaped the leak, so we know exactly what it looks like, so we'll be able to share that with our roofer,
Okay.
so.
Facility signage.
Yes. What in regards to that?
Facility signage is something that I think it would be important for all of our facilities to have especially when we have games. We have nothing posted out there when you come into the stadium that states, hey, this is what is allowed. This is not what is allowed.
Yeah, there's right at the
Where
gate,
is
there's a fire sign, or a firearm sign right there.
No, I'm talking about this is what you can bring into the stadium. You know, you go to other stadiums and they have rules, and I guess it's when I went to Raytown, they had
Okay.
this is what we're going to accept. They have a sign out there, and
Okay,
it's got just like other places have. I think that would be real good to have for our no backpacks if we don't want no backpacks, no drinking, no bullhorns. They say they don't want. I think it's good to have this so then therefore if somebody or student messes up,
Sure.
we have it already posted so that they can see it. Instead of having it on pieces of paper, we need a sign that
Okay.
can be seen in just not only the football facilities, but I think as we add on softball, baseball, basketball, if you go into any house or anybody's facility house, they have these rules posted. So I think that is something that we should have in our facilities.
you said Raytown High School?
Raytown
Was it
football.
Football,
Yeah,
Raytown
state.
High,
Yeah,
okay.
high school. You
Okay.
can look at centers. Grandview have one out. You don't know? Okay. But I know there are signs. I know at the field house at Southeast, the field house in Kansas City, Missouri, we had some signs. But it would be good to have it signed, posted, so that therefore if we ever want to, hey, you have to go home for this reason, we covered, because you had it right there now.
I'll go over to Raytown High and just take a picture
Or,
of it.
yeah,
That way I
check
have
it out or some of those
So,
people.
or close, so,
Yeah. And that's what the signs was.
okay.
Ms. Carter, you got anything?
No.
Okay. College names on the front steps.
Yeah, I talked to
Uh,
Mr. Allen about this, and he wanted back steps, so I wasn't sure. He did not want the names on the front steps due to
Wear and tear state.
wear and tear. Yeah, the back steps on the Ruskin Way side. So as you come up the stairs and turn right, that hallway that goes down there, there's steps down there. He's like, that would be where he would want them, and he wanted to put the partners, the school partners we have now, like Avila, Park, Missouri Western, I can't think, UMKC, some of those, there's 7 or 8 of them that he listed in an email, said, if we're gonna do this, this is the ones I wanna do, because these are our, like, AP and college credit course partners and that type of thing, and put them on there.
Yeah, because they're in the building a lot and they like to see their name.
Right,
Well,
right.
Is there any way that that should be some way that the counselors could get some type of banner from them? I'm
Well,
questioning-
what they did on the last one is they took a wood piece.
No, I know what
Oh,
I know what
okay.
they did. I'm just
Oh.
saying, as far as what he wants to do, what I was saying is our other director, Mrs. Hildebrand, who came up with the concept to put them into the school. I think we should continue with bringing Adam Moore. Yeah, I understand that Avila, UMKC, and all those people are also important, but those are more like with the counselor session to get some type of banner. Maybe we posted those in the schools. Also, we can post their banners and have them hung up high. So that would also be something great, and have it on display too, along with continuing with the stairs. I think we talked about that last time, Mrs. Hildebrand, continuing to add on more stairs. So that was the reason why I brought that in to this today.
Bottom left.
And maybe we could check with how much it was, and also see if any of those schools have any banners that we can
Sure.
get.
Sure.
Ms. Carter, you got any?
No, I mean, I agree with you, if we can get like a logo banner, maybe to hang up, just to kind of show school spirit of college. That I seen it like it displayed a lot of different schools, different colleges. I think that's good. They should have that. So I agree with you.
I think there's some in the student services area.
It's only, that's the only
Yeah.
place, we don't have anything really around the school that
Yeah.
shows that. So that was some of the things
Okay.
that we could check into.
Yeah, I'll certainly let Mr. Allen know.
Okay. The Ruskin Gates. Well, go ahead, Aldridge.
Oh, so we looked at the gates, and during school, there's it's like one way in, one way out. This gate is closed right here when you first come in. Then
Right.
this one's open. So our whole thing was, if there was something like maybe a fire or something big happened, since they only have one way in, one way out, should both those doors be open, both those gates actually be open, so that way if something was to happen, they have an easy access to get out
I think they did that for the purpose of, they have a camera that's on that one
on the far end.
far end, so they can see everybody leaving and coming. I don't think you can see it as well on the other gate. But yeah, we could leave them both open. I could ask Mr. Allen why, I'm not sure why he closed it, but I know there is a video camera on that one gate that is open all the time. I'm not sure what the purpose is. I'd have to ask him and find out.
I think I did look into that more because I was kind of skeptical too. We have a lot of kids that's not paying for their stickers. Maybe we can get some type of, maybe they can work for us to get their sticker. Maybe they can do some type of community service hours for the ones that don't have the stickers on the back of their cars to park. They stated that they were shutting the gate to keep them from coming in. But as Mrs. Carter stated, if there was some type of big thing going on, you know, the first thing cops and everybody gonna worry about inside our school buildings is the school. So now you got this gate that's closed because you're keeping
Right.
students that didn't pay for their parking passes. Maybe we can come in, I know that a lot of them need hours for A+ programs. Maybe we can set up something with the parents, so whereas they can work around the school, get that pass, and then we can put it on there and they worked it off. Getting our students more involved in the school somehow.
So they
They have stickers.
I didn't know that, so they're paying for parking stickers in
Yeah.
order to park
Inside
inside
the
of
gate.
a school.
Mhm.
How much are these parking tickets?
I don't know. 20?
I have no idea.
But I'm just saying, maybe we can get them to
But
do something.
So,
I think I'm just trying to figure out, why are we charging them to park in the school?
That's
Why
it.
is that something that we need to charge a student to park inside a parking lot where they're
Yeah.
going to get their education?
And I'm good with
I
that too.
I mean, this is something new,
That's
I'm just
something-
now.
I never
hearing-
understood
I
that
didn't know
either. I
about
mean,
this.
because
This
where
is
does that extra money go
I
toward?
don't know that.
I wouldn't even, I mean, to me, I don't even
Yeah.
care about the money, but the whole
Right.
purpose is that if students are trying to get to school, that's their transportation to get education, we should not be charging just to park your car in there. Just park your car. I mean, I never got charged. I mean, they're not at a stadium, a football game or anything like that. They're going to school, so that's something interesting I would wanna ask about that.
We need to
Why are they getting charged to get parking stickers on a vehicle?
Yeah, I think that's good too.
Some can't afford that,
Yeah.
Really afford a car.
Right. And I'm in agreement with that too. But we do need to check on that gate of why it's
Yeah.
closed. And maybe come up with some type of reason not to even let them pay, like you just stated.
I'll take that up with Katie, or Miss Rowe and Mr. Allen.
Okay. Anything else, Ms. Court?
No.
Okay. 4.6 Dobbs Elementary.
Yeah, basketball goals. So we talked to Mr. Howard towards the beginning of the year, and he wanted just one more goal up. That goal was delivered back in the summertime and has not been put up yet, which I was disappointed. So we're going to go over and put that up for him. The custodian was supposed to put that up, and I'm not blaming him. I just know he's busy. So we're going to go help put that one goal up. He just wanted one more basketball goal up, so we'll put that up for him. Door badge card readers. So when you go around the back, the doors face the playground. They're on the, I have to remember right, on the southwest door, there is a badge reader, okay?
Excuse
And on the northwest doors, there's not. So I emailed I emailed Dr. Smith first from IT, because she's the one that does card readers, not me. I said, have you ever had a work order that said that they wanted a card reader? And she said no. So I went ahead and emailed Mr. Howard and said, has this been a need and you just haven't ever, told us about it? And he said, yeah, I would like to have one there. So I forwarded it on to Dr. Smith, and she's gonna look at adding a card reader to that, I guess it's the northwest door, so.
Well, we went over to Dobbs, and the reason why we're talking about Dobbs, I'm glad we brought it up, because it looks like a ghost town back there for our children to play. It really is not really pleasant. That's the reason why we're asking all these questions about our playground equipment and things of that nature. It wasn't really a lot for them to do back there, and I'm glad that we are adding this card reader. Hopefully that'll help out, because when we went out there, we noticed we couldn't get back in. I had to hold the door for Director Carter to go out.
There is one on the other side, just know that, so.
So,
Yeah, that's not a problem.
That was just,
repressing.
yeah, and I was, as a parent, if I was to walk into a school and look at my child playing at recess, just to run around sidewalk. You know, there's nothing for those babies to do. They're just, and I feel like, I just feel bad as a parent just to see them out there with nothing, completely nothing. They're just running around,
Sure.
not doing anything. They can just stay in class all day.
So please remember that when we start talking 2020 bond stuff, because I think that's gonna be important to make those,
Decision.
well, make them more even or equal across the board there. As you can see, it's expensive.
It is.
So we need to make good decisions about certain playgrounds that we know are not as good as others, so.
Well, go ahead.
Did you see, I think it was Dobbs, where they didn't even have you see how our pictures are in this nice picture frame? They had to create a poster board and put our pictures on a poster board, like a poster board you get at Dollar Tree. And all of our directors' pictures are just on there. They had to create it themselves, and that does not look professional. And they did it out of the kindness of their hearts, and I really thank them for that. But we should not have a cardboard with our pictures just on there and sitting with it down like right here, because they don't have anything to post us on the wall. Not a picture frame. I mean, now a picture frame is not going to cost us much. We can go to Dollar Tree and get that if we had to, Walmart. But that just didn't sit well with me looking at that.
But, and also over at, we got the card readers, okay. Well, I'm good with that.
Okay.
If there's nothing else, is there anything?
I'm okay.
Okay, moving around, the 4.7 registration area at Burke Academy. And this is something that I brought up, we went over there, we're looking at safety and the security of our students as well as our parents that come and visit that school. In the school year, you're gonna have a lot of students, a lot of parents, as we always know, for late registration. For this safety of our staff, what and why did we
It was
move
actually
registration
always,
all the
with
way up
the
front?
new plan to be there. However, now that it is there, we have had a couple of concerns brought, we are re-examining possibilities of where it might be relocated, if needed.
Okay, so when we sit talking about relocation of it, because as we know, we have 2 rooms over at Burke, one that the superintendent's trying to get the Hope Hangout. We didn't know that. That kind of got us when we went over there. That was told to us. I guess my question is that where she was a real secure area. Only thing she was, I guess, looking for is having another staff member to help open the door, since she's a one-man wrecking crew over there in no way. But that the safety is very concerning for me right now, and I'm hoping that we can get on that ASAP, so that therefore we can get that taken care of before the school year happens, and hopefully by the end of the month somehow to figure out where it would be good for our registration, where it does not interfere and she doesn't have to worry about safety. And that right now that's not great. I had shared that with Mr. Weekly and just trying to get him to visualize that if I was here and something broke out, most of your stuff is coming through that area. Even if Sergeant Dykstra, whoever, they're gonna bring them through that area. And that's not a good look and our image for our district. So I'm hoping that you and the ELT team can get together and get that done before the end of this month sometime for
Well, I don't know
registration.
about how fast we can get it done, but we have started conversations about, again, there are some challenges there that we want to look at, and we are looking at possible, because again, there are several possible locations. In the end, you got to look at the feasibility of each location. Like you said, just kind of like even in our previous location, it had a few challenges. So as we contemplate moving it, we have to contemplate new challenges, because I don't want to end up at a place like we move it and then all of a sudden there's something we didn't think about. So we need to be very thorough in our thought prior to doing it.
Well, I know we have that old administration building that sits right in the midst of everything. And that might be a little start for her.
We'll definitely consider that.
Something. So hopefully we'll come back to the board before the end of the school year, because we do have to make sure that we look at this before the end of the school year.
Well, we already knew there were going to be challenges, like especially like in January, for instance.
Mhm.
There are those times of the year, like right at the beginning of the year, as you know, there was like 4 weeks or so that we really had a lot of traffic. We're going to have some more traffic in January, so we are going to have to temporarily move it no matter what at that time. Not sure we'll do that as well. But, so then, but we're also, like I said, considering a permanent
Home for it, right.
perhaps.
Cause I know she had 6 families today coming in back to back, like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
They was coming.
Six families for the whole day is not.
No,
that-
this
that
is
much.
from like 8 to 11. And that wasn't even counting the afternoon. I don't know how many
Oh,
more.
okay.
I'm talking about how many she
You're
had
talking
coming
about that in the morning.
this morning,
Okay.
yeah. They was back to back. So that's just, for safety. Ms. Carter, you have anything?
No, I kind of, when we went over and visited Birds, I seen only thing that bothers me is that those chairs are sitting right there, and like you said, if there was parents coming in to get their kids in school, then we have a line of kids coming down the hallway, it's that traffic area right there. I mean, if she had her own space, it just feels like it's too much going on right here, and I just feel like that was just too much. I mean, she could just be maybe down further, where was she, at the end of the hallway?
She
she
was
was way down
down
there.
at the other end
Yeah.
of the hall, the total opposite end of the hall, but as we talked about, the challenge was after, her temporary help left after those 4 weeks, then there was nobody to really kind of help, catch the door. Otherwise, she was having to buzz them in herself while she had families there. So
Oh.
this way, Ms. Price is able to
Yeah,
assist
nobody
her
for her.
with that.
Could we get her some
Somebody,
extra
yeah,
help?
she needs some help. She does need some help over there. And I know she does. And I've seen her do a lot.
So that's part of the contemplation too. As we move, we have to take all those things into account.
Okay. Well, we'll be looking forward for the recommendation to come, hopefully before the end of the year from you guys for that. Water damages and repairs, Mr. Weekly.
We replaced ceiling tiles. There's one spot, the same spot we saw. Cornell was there today, fixed it's called a flashing lap. Flashing lap is between the roof and the masonry. The lap had come apart, and so they were replacing that lap. We went ahead and put it's a ceiling tile, but it's a plastic ceiling tile that's got open grids. So it kind of looks like a ceiling tile, but it actually allows any other water that will come through. And then once they feel like it's sealed, then we'll put a regular ceiling tile in there and we'll move on. So they were there today fixing that this afternoon, actually late afternoon. So we'll check it tomorrow and make sure, but all the other ceiling tiles were replaced today, I believe. We ordered them on Friday, got them on Wednesday, and put them up today, so.
So what about there was a water leak from where that
Yeah.
door,
Yeah,
from the door that separates the
High school
hallways
hall.
from the high school door? They had a trash can. When we went
That's
over
the
there-
one I'm talking
That's
about.
the one, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause I was really
Yeah.
worried about that, 'cause she pulled a trash can out and set it right there and was like, well, we use this to hold the water, for the water, and I was like, really?
Yeah, that's the one I was talking
Okay.
about.
Great,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay,
And I went there yesterday and I literally went through every single door and every door was operable the way it was designed.
okay. Well, that's a plus. I appreciate that.
And all the doors were closed and doing what they're supposed to do.
Now, on that door, we had talked about the door leading to the main hall, going up the stairs, getting some type of visual, because you can't see right now in the door.
I'm sorry, say
The
that.
door that leads to the main, all the.
Oh,
up
like
around.
the window you're talking about?
What was up with that? You said you was gonna look for some of the
Yeah,
doors
I'm-
in the old buildings.
I would prefer not to do that.
So
It
you
makes
wanna
it just,
keep it-
makes it, first of all, I believe that's a fire door. I'd have to check, but it may be a fire door that's a 90-minute fire door, and if it isn't a fire door, you can't put light kits in it.
Well, we might wanna check into that.
Yeah,
'cause
I don't-
we're
I
gonna
don't-
need-
I'm almost certain it is.
Okay.
Because when we had the company do the badge reader part, we were talking about it being a fire door, so because of how we devised the mechanism on it.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mrs. Clark?
No, that's it.
Okay, we're gonna,
So I went to Warford.
Warford, yeah.
I went to Warford and talked to Miss Edwards, and she said, we don't need badge readers.
So she's good with the house?
She's totally good, yeah.
No problem, no problem.
I spoke with her and met with her, and she said, no, we don't need badge readers, we have all the ones we need,
Okay.
and all
that's fine.
operational, so.
We just wanna let her know that we was trying to get it, because like I said, they also have that same thing on the back side there.
No, both doors have it.
Both doors out there?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. All right, compass, the room dividers, what's the timeline?
So, I met with ELT on Tuesday and explained, what y'all had said, and then, I met with Ms. Franklin today. I've been calling there's this Ms. Franklin saw an application in Blue Valley School District, a wall application. And the best way I can describe it is kind of like this, but it's not this. It's like a foldable wall like that. The only difference is it's also glass and metal both. And so what they did is they used it as like a teaching tool. So the kids used the glass as something they could write problems on, and then they could pull it out and it would close off the room, and then they could put it all the way back and they could open up the space. It was a very flexible space that they also used for instruction, okay? Because they were writing and using it as kids could work on, okay? So she saw this in one of the Blue Valley schools. I called the Blue Valley School District and got a hold of the guy that was in charge of that. He led me to the company, and I've been playing phone tag with that company all week, trying to get, we're gonna set up a meeting with them and meet with me, Ms. Horde, who's the principal over at Millennium, and Ms. Franklin, and we're gonna walk the space first and say, okay, here's our issue, because the design that they used at Blue Valley may not work for us just because of the way the space is set up. So we want the experts in this wall, and they're a wall design company, that's all they do, okay? They have various, if you look at their website's got crazy wall applications, big, huge pieces of glass, and I mean, all kinds of stuff. So I'm curious, is I want them to see the space first, give us some suggestions about this is what it might look like, or how you could do it, pricing obviously, and then bring that back to you guys and say, okay, and even have them come and say, here's what we think you should do, you know, and then here's the price that comes with it, and then we can talk about next steps. But I want the people that are creating these educational wall spaces to be here and to talk to us, because we don't want a wall application that's just a wall. We want it to be a part of the STEAM project. We want our STEAM and PBL. If it, you know, we want it to be educational in nature, not just a drywall wall. Okay, so that's kind of the purpose of this, is going this avenue. I will tell you that there are walls like this in Liberty. There are walls like this in Kearney. There are walls like this in Park Hill. They're all over the place in the sense of using your wall applications as teaching spaces too, or teaching tools. And so that's what we need to look at to promote that with them, so.
I think one of my question is if we go back to certain schools getting certain things, the pricing is definitely one of the things I want to look at. I'm not against the whole, I like that idea, but we have to look at Hickman Mills' budget compared to Kearney's budget, compared to Blue Valley's budget. We have a certain budget and only certain things we can afford to.
Absolutely.
And only thing I'm looking at is just having a basic divider to divide off the rooms where the kids don't see each other, get distracted, where we don't have that noise. And I understand that's a good teaching tool. I give credit for that. But in the same essence is that only thing we're looking at is to divide that room door, and so that they're all not in one space and we have two different teachers trying to teach classes, and we see kids just like, you know, I'm gonna say that because my son was at campus.
Sure.
And when I went there, I said, what is this? You know, and he was one of the staring, he's so focused seeing that kid in that classroom.
Sure.
So I said, okay, but it's the pricing. I mean, I want it to be reasonable.
Sure.
It sounds right now, sounds expensive. I can just feel it. No, but,
Well, and what I'll do too is I'll bring you a drywall wall.
okay.
I'll bring you a price for that as well. And I don't have any issues with that, because we built the ones that are there now. So when the first year that this was going, Dr. Camp came to me halfway through the year and said, can you, on the lower level, and said, can you build me a wall? And I said, absolutely. So over Christmas break, we built, I think, 2 walls, I believe 2. And here's one thing you have to remember about this. There's a fire code issue with these, okay? Which is you have to have easements on both ends of them, which is why we've made holes on both ends, okay? Now, we could put a door, okay, and he did not want a door at that time. So that would have helped with some of the noise, but the wall itself does obviously help with noise. You can't see each other, but Dr. Kemp wanted an open space on the sides. Part of it is it had to be open or with a door for the purposes of fire escape, okay? So you can't make a permanent wall. That can't exist because of the fire code. So I just want to tell you that because I want to make sure you understand it can't be all the way across and it can't be totally permanent that way. It's because we have to be able to have them escape if there is a fire, so.
So, I mean, that just kind of go back to, I feel like I'm cutting the other schools short. For some reason, in my heart, I just feel like we're getting this upgrade here. I mean, they're getting all this nice equipment, technology, and then we go to our other schools and they're, don't even have half the stuff our other schools have. And it just bothers me to see, I'm going from one transition to another. I go to this school and everything's beautiful, looks wonderful. Then I go here and these kids don't have half the stuff, and I just don't feel that. I just feel like it's straight across the board, it has to be even. That's just my opinion.
Sure.
And that's something I really want to work on with everybody, being able to have the same opportunity.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
What all did we do for Santa Fe? Because I know Santa Fe had that same problem.
Well,
in
and that's
fifth
the other
grade,
reason.
And they had that.
Yeah.
They got the sliding door that goes all the way down.
See, that was an application that was brand new 4 years ago or whatever, and it didn't. They don't like it. So that's why I want somebody to come and say, here's what we can do. I want that person also to go with me to Santa Fe and say, how can we modify this to make it work better? Because the company that put it in doesn't want to work with us in the sense of, they said it's doing what it's designed to do. And so they said, any kind of modification you make is on you.
That's right.
So I would like this wall company to come out and say, how can we modify this? Because really the best way to do it is really to put a track in the floor, and that is extremely expensive. And so I really want to talk to this wall company and say, well, how can we modify this that maybe our guys can do it to make it work and to be not costly.
Efficient.
So I'm gonna get that, because they have no skin in that game. You know, they'll just come in and say, here's what you ought to do. So I want them to kind of help us with that, because we're kind of out of, and I don't want to put a tripping hazard in there either. So that's part of this too, is those walls are supposed to move and kids are really supposed to move back and forth without a tripping hazard. So that's the next steps too. That was a poor design.
You don't like that design over the Santa Fe?
I don't, because the doors swing. Those sliders, they swing too much. And so if they needed a in-floor track to kind of keep them online and not swinging all the time.
But I guess my next question would be, you know, I understand that everybody wants champagne, and sometimes we drink with beer. But at the end of the day, we have to do what is best for the HMC1. And also, what about environmental boards? You know, environmental things. Do they, you know, with these dividers? Do they have some that's made through environmental stuff? You know, as far as recyclables.
I'm sure
You
that's
know,
true.
we might
Oh,
look
I'm
at
sure.
recyclable dividers.
Yeah, I'm sure
You
that's
know,
true.
Basically, you just, right now, I guess the thing is, our children are right now suffering, as Director Carter stated, you know, with the attention spans in those classes. I can imagine what the attention span is going on at those schools right now, and that's something maybe you could look at too, Mr. Carter. The attention span is probably, you know, a lot of kids are going to the office, you know, but if we can get that done as quickly as possible, get on that as,
Yeah, I'll bring you what we find out.
okay,
So,
we'll be looking forward to hearing that.
yep.
Anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay. 4.10, renaming of the schools. I did look at our policies and everything on the Smith Hill, and I don't know what they did, but I've spoken, and the reason why I'm bringing this up again, I've spoken to a lot of the alumni of Hickman Mills, the actual high school, and something that they've been saying that I've stated a lot of times. I'm trying to get some of them to come to the board meeting. There's not a school named Hickman Mills in our area for this to be the Hickman Mills School District. We still got 2 Smith Hills, we still got 2 Burkes, and I, you know, for the love of me, I still haven't understood that either. When we have one that was named after it, and we keep changing it. So, with that being said, I want to try to bring this to the board on me getting a committee together to try to get the school renamed after the for what it was for. Simply because we don't have one in this district at all that's named after it. That's why I asked. I don't know how they did it with Irvin. I saw it. I saw a little thing that.
Yeah,
that,
she sent you
she sent a little bit, but as far as when it went out, I didn't see all that. I saw that they gave a survey supposedly. And,
Yeah.
But doing this, according to our policy, we have to bring it to and get some people together. So I'm gonna try to see.
She did that.
Spearhead that, seeing if the board will, and I would like to make a motion on that to bring that to the board on renaming of the Smith Hill that we have right now. Do I have to bring that as a motion to get a committee together since it is still under the facilities, but the board policy states one thing.
So if you're recommending that the board, if you're gonna make a recommendation from this committee that the board form a committee pursuant to the board policy to rename a school building, then yeah, you would wanna make a recommendation, or you could make a, you know, a motion from make a motion coming from this committee back to the full board that you want to form a committee to rename the
Smithfield.
Smithfield.
Okay. So I'll do that, I guess, tonight then. With the two of us. I thought we was gonna have her on there. But she keeps going in and out. So at this time, the chair can also make the motion.
Yeah, check
So-
the motion.
I am making a motion that, for 4.10 on renaming of the school Smith Hill, that presently sits on Old Santa Fe Road right now, and it's 9001 AB, I think, Santa Fe Road, to form a committee for the Hickman, to rename the Hickman Mills, forming a committee together.
I second.
Okay, so it's been second at this time, so we will take that recommendation to the board on our next meeting for October 17th. Okay, moving right along, 4.11, buildings and grounds. We bought this because we've been losing a lot of cars. We've been having a lot of break-ins. And I made this before trying to get our facilities moved from Grandview over here in our area. I've stated that several times. But looking at it, it seems like we're starting to get break-in every week or every other 2 weeks. Here lately, we've had 2-3 break-ins. If I'm not mistaken.
3 in 2 years.
But I'm saying within these weeks, I'm talking about this months, we have had 2.
It's been 4 or 5 weeks, yeah.
Yeah,
since
about
the
2.
last one.
So just looking at that, I guess we're very concerned with the security over there. It was always told that it is in an area, I've seen it, it is on a back street
Yeah.
where there's nobody there in that area, direct quarter. I'm just giving you a little logistics. It sits on a long road, so it is not really visible unless you come out that back road. What are we doing? I guess that's the question, to beef up the security for our vehicles, because we've had 2-3 vehicles. We had 2 stolen so far that I know of, and then we had this down over here at Burke that was broken into too. So I'm just kind of wondering, what are we doing as the district for security now?
Well, what we've done is we had Acme Fence come out, who's our fence company, to replace the gate, and then we actually added some chains to it as well that go to the major posts, and that was their suggestions on that to make it even tighter. The problem is that they're cutting the wire. So what we found on the video is that I think there are 8-foot tall gates, and what they're doing is they're cutting the barbed wire and then they're crawling over. So we're considering adding some razor wire, actually, which would actually be harder to cut through. Come at a little bit of a cost, but I think it would actually help with that. We put the, I always forget what they call them, the steering wheel pieces that you can put in. But they always cut through those. We still put them in, but we've had to buy a couple here and there just because they cut through them, or they use a key or use a screwdriver and pop the key. So besides that, there's really, I mean, we obviously lock them up every night, put the keys inside every night. So
they're cutting this barbed wire, you said?
yeah, we have it's about 8-foot tall fence, like a chain link fence. And then on top of that, there's I don't know, 2-foot, 3-foot area that has barbed wire that goes across it. I think there's 3 or 4 strands to kind of keep people from climbing over. Okay, what they did was one of the areas they were able to climb up and snip it and be able to, all those pieces, and then climb over.
Is there a community around this, like houses or anything?
No,
So this is sitting in
it's kind of sitting off the road a little bit, and
And that's
it's
probably why all this is happening, because we don't have anything that's, so what are the cameras? They're picking up these guys, but
Yeah,
what are we doing? They're steady, are these the same people that's repeated
we
over
don't
and
know.
over?
They've never been caught.
So they're on the camera, but what is the police doing about this, like the police department?
Yeah, they came over, we give them all the descriptions, we give them the video, okay, and then they assign it to a detective and they go off there.
So they're not doing too much?
I haven't heard anything back from them.
Right, okay.
The first vehicle, 2 years ago, they found it, okay? The second vehicle we've not found. This third vehicle we did find the very next morning. So 2 of the 3 have been recovered and are back in our fleet. The one the one 4 or 5 weeks ago has not been recovered yet. And our insurance company knows about it. They would like for us to wait just a little bit longer to see if it actually is recovered. Then if it isn't, the problem is that the value of the vehicle is less than what the deductible is because it's so old. So I doubt if we'll be able to get much, if anything, out from the insurance company for the vehicle.
But every little bit counts.
Possibly with the tools in it that were in it, we could possibly get some, but most of those tools we got recovered, as you'll remember the story. So there's very little tools that we lost out of that.
So I mean, I think I agree with Vice President Reagan. We probably need to bring it back over this way, because if we keep taking a loss and there's nothing, I mean, we're giving them video surveillance and there's nobody getting caught, but at the same time we're sitting in a rural area where there's nothing there. There's not people to report what's going on. So I really feel like we need to put it somewhere back over here where there's traffic, where we know police is up and down the street constantly watching. There's neighbors, there's people around, or somewhere where we can kind of more monitor this, because like I said, we keep cutting the loss.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that would be.
We don't have anything on the side to bring our stuff over here.
No, what I mean, I don't know what location you would put it. Put that area. I mean, we'd have to either buy property or.
Well, we got plenty of property.
Yeah, but we voted last month to sell it.
Well, we voted, but we haven't done anything yet. But I guess my next question would be, there's plenty of property still that we own, even over by the Freedom Markley.
Yeah.
We have property over there I know of that's still sitting there, that old school that's been sitting there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be big enough.
But I'm just saying, we have saying we have property, and
Yeah.
then we're gonna have to start looking at something if we're gonna condemn this other building that's sitting down at the end of Ruskin, because it's about to fall in pretty
CAC.
soon. And that could be there's property is already gated, see?
Yeah, it's not big enough
So
either.
Mr. Ripley, back to what he was saying about the whole, that building, that property we have by Freedom Market. What are we doing with that? I've never seen it, so when I was over there, I was like, really?
Yeah, it's been condemned for a
thinking of
very
some-
long time.
We kind of just need to tear it down, basically get rid
Well,
of it.
it's also part of the history registry, so we can't tear it down. So it's just a closed up building. We've shut it all up and no one's ever, I don't think anybody's been in there in 5 years. But it's been condemned for, I would say, at least 10 to 15 years.
So we're just gonna sit on an old building, it is history, which I've seen the books at Freedom Markley, really nice.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, can't we do something to make it into like history, like museum, put pictures in there or something, bring it back to life at least?
We could
Instead of leaving it there?
at a cost, absolutely. We could
I
do
mean, that would have
anything.
been a good decision. I mean, since it's history and it's our history, bringing some of our old historical pictures, putting it in there, creating it like a museum, something that we own in our community.
We could certainly do that, just where does that money come from?
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I think we need to really, like I said, I don't know how much we've been getting back on those cars and trucks that we've been losing in tools, but
Just the one.
we just want to make sure. We're going to have to think of something, and I think that'll be the next discussion I'll take in the closed session area. I won't make no motion for this one tonight.
Please understand that we've got equipment there. Let me give you an example. Like, we work on our own cars a lot, our own trucks. So we've got a lift. I mean, we'd have to move that or buy someone new, or that's a very expensive piece. And it's a great piece for us. I changed brakes on the van the other day. So that is a very valuable piece for us, is some of the tools and equipment and things we have there. So just understand, not only is there a cost to preparing a location, there's also a cost of what we'd have to purchase or move to the new location, to properly, give us what we need to do our jobs.
Right.
So,
No, I understand your side, Mr. Weekly, but my thing is, it's like, either way we go, we're still gonna take a loss. Because if we continue to stay there and they keep coming, taking from us, and we're not getting any results from the police that we need, then we're cutting a loss still. And so I know where you're coming from, where
Sure.
that's gonna be a lot of work trying to move it, and there's equipment that you need that's there. But in the same essence, they're coming and taking our equipment, we're steady replacing and stuff, our cars are coming up missing. We can't continue to replace things and let the same thing happen over and over again. We gotta do some type of change, we gotta make some change, or even up our security somehow. Maybe we can think of something else we can do, but you told me they're cutting the wire down, and seem like they're getting a little fancy, they're doing a lot of different other stuff. So I'm not
well,
for sure.
it's like I shared with you before, the police said these are professionals. I mean, they know what they're doing.
And it's shocking that Grandview Police is not a little bit, seeing that this is a repeated thing that keeps happening, they're not more aware on the scene. Maybe patrolling the area a little more, they can't patrol it for us.
This is Kansas City, not Grandview.
Oh, not Grandview,
That's
okay.
correct. So it's not Grandview Police. They would not be a participant in that, so.
Okay.
It's all the sports. Okay, is there anything else?
No,
Okay.
that was it.
All right, future agenda items, we'll just send it out to Mrs. Payton to get it for the future agenda items, unless there's something else that needs to go on here at this time for 5.0. You have anything, Mr. Wakeman?
No, I do not.
Okay, Mrs. Carter, you have
No.
anything? Okay, Director Carter, I'm sorry. 6.0 future meeting dates on October the 17th, 2019, we'll have our regular session board meeting at 6:30 p.m. November the 5th, we'll have the Policies Committee meeting at 5:30. November the 7th, we'll have the Facilities Committee meeting again at 5:30 in here. November the 12th, 2019, we'll have the Finance Committee meeting at 5:30. On 6.5, November the 14th, 2019, regular session board meeting at 6:30 p.m. I did not see anything about the closed session on the 17th, but I know it starts at around about 5:30 for closed session on October the 17th. And at this time, if no one has anything, we're going to adjourn this meeting at 7:13 p.m. Do I get a second?
My second.
All right.